Welcome back to Stateside Veterans. Appreciate you being here today. The ask is to hit the subscribe button, the little chevron that you may be seeing if you're watching on your computer, or down below if you're watching on your iPhone or tablet. That's the ask. Stick around to the end of the video. Today, I'm going to be giving you an update on the VA's budget mess, and it is officially a mess. So we're going to dive into an article here today. It's provided by the Federal News Network and Jared Serbu. So I want to give a shout out to him. Thank you for posting this content. I'm going to read through a little bit of it. This is an update to previous videos I've posted on this channel that is talking about the $15 billion with a Bravo B billion-dollar shortfall that the VA is facing over the next fiscal year or so. So I'm going to dive right in here. The VA chief says increased outreach and utilization drove massive budget shortfall. Secretary Denis McDonough says Congress needs to act by mid-September to prevent a delay in benefit payments to veterans. I'm going to read that again. Congress needs to act by mid-September to prevent a delay in payments to veterans. Folks, Congress, as far as I know, is out on recess right now for summer break, and I don't believe they're back until early September. So this gives a very limited amount of time for Congress to figure this out. As we see a little later in the article, the VA is facing a $3 billion shortfall that is compounded by the nearly $1 billion by this point, I think, shortfall in funds that are not coming in through the program integrity tool back into VA coffers. So this is a lot of money here, and it could affect you. It could affect all of us that may be receiving benefits from the VA. So wanted to make you aware of it. I'm going to continue here. Veterans Affairs Secretary Denis McDonough defended his department's $15 billion budget shortfall on Tuesday, saying the reading projected this year and next is being driven almost entirely by increased utilization of veterans' benefits and healthcare. The department notified lawmakers last week on its current trajectory. The department would overspend its approved 2024 fiscal year budget by nearly $3 billion, and that the 2025 budget the Biden administration proposed earlier this year would fall short by $12 billion. So not only are we in the red this fiscal year, which ends on the 30th of September, but everything after October 1st is in the red too. Definitely concerning, considering that next year's budget for the VA had already gone through sort of the vetting process in the House. I think it was sent over to the Senate for reconciliation. They'd already marked it up, and lo and behold, the VA secretary is now saying, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, we are way, way short of our mark. It goes to planning. And I think a lot of this is driven by some of the PACT Act utilization that we saw. There was a big increase, and rightfully so. A lot of veterans were suffering from conditions attributed to the PACT Act or that falls under the auspices of the PACT Act. And that drove up utilization. This was something that was foreseeable. This was something that was well known. And the fact that we're now playing budget catch up makes me really concerned, especially if it affects our benefits. McDonough told reporters on Tuesday that the 2024 shortfall lies chiefly in the Veterans Benefits Administration and was mainly driven by VA outreach campaign urging veterans to file their benefits they've earned. He said that similar situation led Congress to increase the VBA's authorization funding level towards the end of 2023 as well. We anticipate ultimately producing somewhere north of 2.5 million claims this year, he said. We've been planning for an aggressive growth rate of up to 2.4, but because we're performing at such a high level, we need to raise the authorized level one more time. That will cover increased benefits paid under the compensation and pension claims, as well as increased utilization of readjustment benefits, including the GI Bill and Veterans Readiness and Employment benefits. That's, again, a lot of claims. I don't malign them for processing so many claims and being a little behind the eight ball. It's important that these claims are processed. But what isn't acceptable in my mind is such a massive gap between, the amount of money that is coming into the VA and, what they projected and where they end up needing. So definitely a concern there. 2025 shortfall. The much larger 2025 deficit, however, is mostly a result of revised projections that anticipate the veterans' use of the VA healthcare system to continue to grow next year. Officials said that nearly 413,000 veterans enrolled to receive VA health services over the past year, a 27% increase in enrollments compared to the year before. That, in turn, has led the Veterans Health Administration to hire more employees, a turnaround from earlier plans. In its 2025 budget proposal, the department expected to reduce its total headcount by 10,000 people. Instead, staffing has already increased by several thousand employees this year. The math just doesn't work there, does it, guys? I mean, when you're projecting a substantial shortfall in personnel and funding to process these claims, it doesn't make sense, to me at least, that you'd be trimming by nearly 10,000 employees the total population census for the VA employees. Just doesn't add up in my mind. I kept telling Congress, McDonough says here, I kept telling Congress during the course of the year that we believed that we had the funding we needed, but if we needed more, we'd come back, McDonough said. I also said that I will not stop outreach and will continue to allow our local leaders to make strategic hiring decisions. As they've done that, we've readjusted our full-time equivalent goal. He argued the pivot to maintain increased staffing level in some locations has also increased access to care. Primary care wait times across the system are down 8%. Wait times for mental health care appointments are down 9%. Overall offerings for healthcare appointments are up 16%, McDonough said. In the light of more timely access to care for more veterans, we've determined we need to revisit the FTE number, full-time equivalent number, and that's what we've done. Here's the fun part, guys. They're talking about contingency planning in this last part, and I'm going to read through this and then give you my take. McDonough declined to offer details on what actions his department might have to take if Congress does not approve the additional funding, but said the VA does not anticipate needing to conduct reductions in force. In order to cover this year's shortfall, McDonough said additional funding authorizations would be needed by mid-September. We're continuing to talk to Congress about additional needs for VHA in fiscal 2025, which obviously starts on October 1st, he said. This is not a new issue, and we'll stay on top of it to make sure if we need contingency plans. We're talking about those and informing veterans as well. I'm not so sure how well veterans are being informed about the magnitude of this problem. Again, we're talking about $15 billion with a B in a budget shortfall, as well as kind of a big churn happening with staffing. I appreciate the Federal News Network putting this information out. I think it's important to get it out to our community. But let me ask you guys, how many of you have seen articles about this in more mainstream sources beyond places like, maybe Military Times or Federal News Network? Are you seeing it on CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox News, whatever the mainstream outlet may be? In my personal opinion, there's not much talk of it. And I think particularly because our benefits and our benefit payments that we receive each month may be at risk, this needs to be a much, much bigger topic. So that's the update for today, folks. Again, the ask is to like and subscribe, hit the little button down in the corner. I appreciate you being here. As this topic unfolds and more information becomes available, I will make sure to keep you informed. Have a great day.